So everyone may or may not be surprised that the iPhone 12 retains the notch, which was originally introduced on the iPhone 10. When the notch originally came out, it was controversial and surprising part of the iPhone's new design. People love the iPhone's design for its clean, industrial looks, and the notch was a slap in the face to this design aesthetic. It's probably safe to say, though, the notch has grown in popularity, as detractors have certainly decreased over the years as people have become more accustomed to the notch design on the iPhone and other flagships as well. It's becoming a little bit more part of the iPhone culture that this little black bar at the top of your iPhone is a part of being a part of Apple's quirky ecosystem. It's there, and sometimes it really doesn't make sense while it's there, but Apple users accept it due to the host of the other Apple iPhone features and products that people know and love. This being said, however, what we've been seeing is the removal of the notch on other flagship phones, and this has left people wondering why we haven't seen the same on the iPhone. The iPhone SE 2, of course, borrowing from the iPhone 6's original design with its home button, doesn't have a notch, and this might be Apple's answer to people that want to stay in their ecosystem but just can't stand to have that tiny little black bar at the top of their Retina display. And after 3 generations from the iPhone 10, the notch, for the time being, looks like it's here to stay. Albeit, the notch on the iPhone 12 is a little bit different than the previous generation, as it's slightly smaller and more streamlined, much like the bezels on the iPhone 12. Of course, the official reason why the iPhone 10's design originally had the notch and did away with the home button was that Apple needed another way of unlocking your phone securely, which is where Face ID came in. All the sensors required for Face ID are, of course, on the front-facing portion of your phone, and the only way that the Apple iPhone 10 through 12 can do this is, of course, with the notch. So there's really 2 schools of thought when it comes to the notch. There's those that have gotten used to it. Some people don't even notice the notch anymore, as they're accustomed to seeing it with the time and battery connection and Wi-Fi indicators on each side of the notch. And they're accustomed to having the iPhone fill in the notch on full screen apps like YouTube and other media applications. And while these applications with notch removal came off to a shaky start with the iPhone 10, it certainly has been widespread integration of a black bar to remove the notch since the 3 generations of the iPhone 10. So those that have gotten used to the notch over the last 2 generations most likely won't mind seeing it on the iPhone 12. It's there, and Apple has certainly done a great job of integrating it into the iPhone 12's slimmer bezel design. As myself, I do notice the notch, but do find it to be aesthetically pleasing with the rest of the iPhone 12's design. And of course, there's the people that are not into the notch whatsoever and have never been into the notch, and they argue that the Face ID sensors can be added onto a chin on the iPhone 12, which wouldn't detract so much from the industrial design. This harkens back to the original antenna line arguments on the iPhone 6 designs, which were eventually phased out with the all-glass back on the iPhone 8. So if the iPhone 12 does continue in this simplification trend that we've been seeing with the iPhone designs, then maybe in the next generation or the generation after that, we might see the removal of the notch altogether. It certainly wouldn't hurt the iPhone's design, as the iPhone 12 is probably the pinnacle of the iPhone's design in terms of a clean look and sleek, unbroken lines. All this to say, though, there's a lot of other rumors with the next generations of iPhone, including the removal of ports altogether, and who knows what kind of effect this may or may not have on the current notch design. All in all, I'm very happy with the iPhone 12's design, as the squared off edges and the slimmer bezels really pull off the modern industrial look that Apple is going for, and I personally myself have always been a fan. So what do you think? Do you think it's about time for the iPhone to ditch the notch, or have you become happy with the notch over the years since the iPhone 10? Leave